One of these days I'm going to come up with a fancy intro for you guys. But for now, you're stuck with these pictures. Hey everyone, Luke here, and I've got a battle report. My buddies came over and we decided to do a 2-on-1 scenario. Vampire counts at 3,000 points versus an allied team of 1,500 points, Warriors of Chaos and Empire. Wanted to see what happened, thought it'd be kind of fun, and this is what we ended up with. We rolled up, got a meeting engagement, and you can see this is kind of how deployment went. Here's the big thing to know from deployment. We rolled all the pieces of magical terrain, and we got the Anvil of Vol, which is the hill in the far top corner there. The problem is that thing is granting magic and flaming attacks to anything within 6 inches of it, and we knew that that was going to be huge because one army here needs fire to counter all my region, and they have a lot of war machines. So I deployed it, kind of doing a lot of metagaming, decided, you know what, the best place to put this is as far away as possible. Now, we haven't deployed yet, obviously, but I put it in one of the far corners and thought, all right, it's just going to come down to a roll who gets to deploy first, and that'll be my back corner. But it wasn't to be. My allies ended up with that, and that's where they put the far corner. This is how they put the line, and that's the side they chose. And it makes sense. And that's where all their war machines ended up. But this is kind of what it looks like. There's 2 fulcrums on the board. The one closest to us right now is giving magic resistance 2, and the one in the middle of the board, right between the lines there, is giving... I forget which one it is. It's the, I think it's Arcane Ruins. It's the one that lets you use up to 4 dice to channel, and if you get 3 of any duplicates, it's a miscast. So going down their lines, this is the allies, the joint Chaos and Empire. They had some, I think that's Pistoliers is what they call them, the guys on the horses, the fast cav and horses. Behind them are the Chaos Dogs. Up on the hill here, we've got 2 mortars and a cannon, and next to them are some handgunners. Back down near the center of the line, we've got some marauders with great weapons, I believe. On the other side of this fulcrum here, we've got Chaos Warriors, and I think they have, Frenzy and extra hand weapon or something. I don't quite remember. Next to them, Empire, a horde of Empire halberdiers, and the BSBs in there, as well as their general. I believe the general has the 1-up armor save, 4-up ward save. You can't really see him from this picture, and I don't think you can really see him from this picture, but there is a level 1 Empire caster running around behind that forest in there, and then he's probably blocked by the Chaos Knights there. So looking down my battle line, this is a terrible picture. We'll go on this side. We've got 5 dire wolves and a horde of just about 40 crypt ghouls with a Cairn Wraith there. In front of them is a Spirit Host, 1 base. I'm all kind of crowding the line here, and so no one's really out in front redirecting yet, but so they're all kind of bunched up. Next to them are about 30-some skeletons, 33, something like that, with a Strigoi Ghoul King. That's the guy represented by the vampire up on that stone. Then we have 24 Graveguard with a White King BSB, who I'm starting to question taking. Behind them is a bunker 20 zombies with level 4 Necromancer, Master of the Dead, that type of guy. He's got the Cursed Book, that type of thing. Next to them, partially painted. I mean, hell, they're not done yet, but they're at least green. I've got some Crypt Horrors. And I'm also using 2 Ogres to get their number up to 8. Next to them is a Black Coach. And finally, a second base of Spirit Host. Now, I forgot to mention, this is meeting engagement, so we have reserves. On their side, the Steam Tank, the Hell Cannon, and the just another group of dogs are held in reserves. And on my side, my Mortis Engine and another group of dogs are held in reserve. So there's a lot of power and core stuff for our armies here that are held in reserves, and it sucks. We looked in the rules, and as far as we could tell, there was some discussion, but it looked like as soon as your turn happened, you could bring guys in from the reserves in. You just got the choice. So it was just a slight delay. So on their turn, this is turn 1 for the allies. The Hell Cannon comes on. Someone post if that's wrong, if you have to delay a turn or something like that. But as far as we could tell, it just means you're going to be kind of forced to the remaining sub-moves phase and camp march. But anyway, we think that's what it is. So on their turn, the Hell Cannon comes in. Their guys kind of move up. This is partial Vanguard movement here. Their Chaos Knights charge in the top there, my Spirit Hosts. I didn't realize that they had Ensorcel Blades, magic attacks, but that's what happened there. So what I thought was actually going to maybe hold them up is just going to be a slight speed bump. And then you can see here that the other dogs and the steam tank come on. The steam tank actually is held back a turn because it's not able to generate steam points. So that is actually something nice. At the during Magic phase, it's 12 dice to 7 dice. We start out kicking. I was able to dispel Pandemonium and Malkoths. Flickering Fire kills one of the Spirit Hosts, and Irresistible Force went off on Infernal Gateway, which killed 8 of my skeletons, and I don't really have a good picture of that. I guess that's a little far ahead. Miscast only puts like 1 wound out there on the Empire's caster, but it doesn't really matter too much. During shooting, this is where shooting starts, and it's going to get awful for me. The BSB on their side has some sort of blood-curdling scream, doesn't really do anything. They have one of the cannons hits the Crypt Ghouls here and stops. It's got to actually go kill a unit to go through the next rank, so it stops, just does 1 wound, which was not bad. The 2 mortars go off, and about 5-6 Graveguard die, and about 10-11 skeletons die. So yeah, they're chipping out some of the infantry there quite a bit. During close combat, as you can see here, the Chaos Knights kill and easily just kill and overrun the Spirit Host and end up in combat with my Black Coach. Not too worried. It's got a 3-up armor save and a 4-up ward, so I'm just hoping take a turn to reform and then get the Crypt Horrors in there with them. So we're gonna. I think this is just what it looks like at the end of the turn. I haven't actually moved yet. So now we go into Vampires turn 1. Crypt Horrors reform. They're going to try to get into combat there and help out the Black Coach. On the side here, I move the dogs up to kind of angle, so if the warriors want to get into combat, they're going to have to charge. I mean, they got frenzies. They're going to have to be making leadership tests if they don't want to attack. But they're going to have to charge and then hopefully get a flank charge, or if they overrun because they're frenzied, then they'll come closer to my my horde there and I'll get to hit him in the side. So I'm planning on that. I move my Cairn Wraith out to kind of try to do a speed bump in case the Marauders start coming up, but I'm not quite sure what to do with them yet. I try a dual charge, and I need 8 on both of them, which I probably should have taken that chance. In hindsight, it seems like it was too long, but I wanted to charge the Graveguard and those skeletons with the Strigoi Ghoul King into the Halberdiers. I figured if I can hit them, I can break them because I'm going to do so many wounds. And they're going to flee, I'll pursue, and then I'll be kind of shielded by the forest, and that steam tank is probably going to get hurt in the forest. Admittedly, I don't know what the rules are, but I figured, well, hell, that thing's awful, so let's try to get it in the forest. But only, sadly, the Graveguard group makes it, so it's going to get a little bloody. This is just another picture of the battlefield. You can't see it, but right in the bottom, I bring on the Mortis engine. And so that's on, but it's not doing anything yet. A, it's too far away from everyone, and B, it comes on after the first. It only does its generation and all of its power at the beginning of the turn, and it wasn't on the board. So let me see. I believe. Trying to find out where we are. This is just a picture. I guess it's just saying my dogs came on. I'm trying to figure out where these pictures are in relation to the battle. During close combat, I get 2 wounds in the Black Coach, but everything else is, I can't do anything to him. He's got a 1-up damn armor save, so I wasn't able to do anything to him. Although, admittedly, the Chill Grasp on the Cairn Wraith that's driving there is going to help out here, I'm thinking. I'm pretty excited about that because these guys are high armor, and that's going to go right through that. During close combat here, I win combat by 2, but he does quite a few wounds. He sticks, and he's steadfast, obviously. So these guys are going to have some trouble. And that pretty much ends my turn. And as you'd expect, going into Allies turn 2, the Steam Tank charges in the flank of the Graveguard. Not good at all. His dogs also charge into the flank of my Crypt Horrors. So I have to mop them up this turn if I want to come in on my turn and help out my Black Coach. So that was pretty good on his end. For the rest of the board, here's kind of what movement looks like. People are just moving up. But basically the Warriors of Chaos and the Marauders are kind of just holding. They don't really want to get redirected. They don't really know what they're doing. So that's just kind of what it looks like. You can see the Mortis engine and my dogs down there who came out of my turn. I think that's like the first picture we can actually see him. During Magic, Chaos Guy tried to do 2 dice on Flickering Fire, and he rolled like Snake Eyes, so he was done casting. Other than that, the Empire Guy didn't really do too much, just buffed himself up with like the 1 caster he had, and I was able to dispel Malkoths. During shooting, however, I don't have a picture of it here, but 2 of the dogs died from the BSB doing his Scream attack from Chaos. 1 of the mortars misses, 3 of the Pistoliers kill a couple ghouls. You can see they've swooped around behind him there. Those guys are like pains in the butt. The cannon on the hill shoots at the Mortis engine and does 4 wounds. Barely doesn't kill it, but remember, he doesn't have a regen save because everything on that hill is flaming and magical. And so it's just straight armor, but at strength 10, it's just, here you go, don't roll a 1, and so I'm having some trouble with that. And I got no one to block that cannon shot. Let me see, what else happened? I believe the Hell Cannon, actually this was funny, the Hell Cannon goes to line up a shot and puts it straight on the skeletons, and it misfires. And I'm like, cool, I'm not going to lose my skeletons. But it does that big roar misfire where the whole damn thing, the mechanism to fire explodes. The Hell Cannon's fine, it's just a beast now, but then it renders like strength 10 hits and wherever that template was going to go. And because it was a dead-on hit, it was just a misfire, like I lose all those skeletons. So that unit is like, holy crap, it is tiny now. So I wasn't feeling too good about that. During close combat, freaking unbelievable. They roll out of their ass and they kill the Chaos Knights, kill the frickin' Black Coach. Even with the 4-up ward, I am rolling like butt. And so I wasn't even able to hurt one. He killed me before I was able to go, and I did not expect that to happen. I thought that thing was more durable. But again, Chaos Knights, they're really fucking strong. So he ends up reforming to face me, and I end up killing his dogs. He does do 2 wounds on me. I think that was what I needed, and so I'm down 1 model completely, but not feeling too good about that. The Steam Tank does exactly what you would expect. I think it had something like 17 impact hits, or just something. No, I think it must have been 12, but then with all the other combat, I just got destroyed. In fact, I think the White King was the only one left after impact hits, and he tried to do a quick challenge, but that's what's left. That whole group's wiped out, and I feel pretty damned awful. Otherwise, I think that's it for close combat. So on my turn, I move my dogs out. You can see the redirecting group's down to 3 still, like I said from before. You can see here I took my Vampire, the Struggle Ghoul Lord, Ghoul King, out of the Skeletons group, and I moved him in with the Crypt Ghouls, and I also pulled the Cairn Wraith back. So I've actually got 3 characters in that group, but everything's getting whittled away, and my support, the Mortis Engines, it's looking like it's going to go down. So I'm trying to turtle here as best I can. Here's a picture of. I tried to charge the Pistoliers who were sitting there. They fled, so I had a failed charge. But it's a chariot. It wasn't going to move too much further than that anyway. And I did get the Pistoliers to flee through the zombies, who took a couple of, I think maybe two dangerous terrain tests and failed. So they're down to 3 now. So that's what that looks like after movement. During Magic, I used the Soul Blight. I got Soul Blight out of the book. Out of the curse book, but that got dispelled. I think it was like 10 to 8 dice before that, and I ended up getting Soul Blight. It was dispelled, but I think it took 2 dice out of my pool, so then we were even. I tried to use the Rod of Flaming Ruin on the. Rod of Flaming Death, who's sitting on my. That's an item sitting on my level 1 Necromancer. I tried to use that on the Marauder to stop them from coming, but that got dispelled. Then he just dispelled pretty much everything else. I tried to kind of get Van Hels off to move guys around. That was dispelled with all the rest of his dice, and I wasn't able to cast pretty much anything else. So bad Magic phase. I mean, I need good Magic phases here if I'm going to keep my army together. It's just not feeling good. I have a few screams I can do during the shooting phase, but I'm not close enough to anyone. During close combat, I lose by 2. These guys hold very well, but they need support to actually do the wounds, especially on something like these Chaos Knights. So I got to get something over there to support. This is, I think, just a picture of what it looks like afterwards. You can see I've hunkered down. I've pretty much given up on the skeletons, and we'll see what happens. Okay, so this is Allies turn 3. The Steam Tank generates 4 points and totters forward a little bit. The halberdiers charge what's left of my skeletons. And he rallies his dogs. He had some dogs. I don't think I talked about them, but I think my dogs beat them or something. Anyway, they're on the far side of the board. They rallied. And his pistoliers also rallied, and you can see them there looking at the zombies. During Magic, he rolled 12 dice. I had 6. Dispelled. He put Pandemonium in play, which is a just awful spell. It means you can't use Inspiring Presence from your general. And any double when casting a spell for me, only his enemies are a miscast. It is not Irresistible Force, so you still have to make the spell, but it is a miscast. I let that go because I'm going to be able to dispel that on my turn, and he had way more dice than me. I was able to dispel Baleful Transmogrification with the dice I had left, but he was able to kill the rest of my dogs with Flickering Fire. I used my Dispel Scroll on Infernal Gateway. He targeted, I think, my ghouls unit there with everyone in there, and that's the one. It's like 2d6 hits at strength 2d6, and if that strength is 11 or 12, it just wipes out the entire unit. Regardless, I was like, you know what, I don't know how my next Magic phase is going to go. I don't want them to take all those hits potentially, so I used my scroll there. And then he failed to cast the rest, so the turn was done. During shooting, he was able to roar with his BSB, and that killed up the rest of the dogs. The Pistoliers shot a couple zombies. Let me see if I have a good picture of that. I guess not. This is just showing the dogs who rallied. I guess catching up on the pictures here. You can see the Hell Cannon's just moving forward now because it can't shoot. This is a picture of during the shooting phase that the zombies are getting picked off a little bit. And this is a picture of me weeping. I have such trouble with the things I love in this game. The Mortis Engine is missing from here because the damn steam tank, with no one else to destroy this round, just takes a shot and picks off the damn Mortis Engine. And what are you going to do? It's bound to happen. It just sucks. Otherwise, the mortar hits and kills, I think, a few. You can see a couple ghouls are missing there. You can see here during close combat, I lose. I think I lost by 4, so I'm down to 1 rank of Crypt Horrors. This isn't going to work. I can't wound these guys with a 1-up armor save, and I'm not rolling well on. I'm really not rolling well this game at all. I know that I'm saying that a lot lately, but it's definitely happening. I was getting lots of groans from my 2 buddies saying, "Sorry, man, this sucks," but I wasn't making a lot of my ward saves or anything. So they're holding, and I like them for that, but they're not going to do much on their own. And then obviously the skeletons just get wiped out by the horde and they overrun here. So they're putting the hurt on my big caster there. So then we go into Vampire's turn 3. I pivot here in the middle just to avoid a flank charge. I'm not going to try running my guy out or anything because it's pretty much over at this point, I feel. I mean, I've got pressure coming from everywhere, but you don't want to see how it goes. On this end, I mean, they're getting whittled down here too as well, but I'm using the dogs to try to keep the Marauders, that's what they are, keep the Marauders off on the side if they charge, which they probably will at some point. He's been making all his frenzy. I mean, everyone's pretty close together, so he's got the re-rolls and everything, but if they are going to charge, they're going to hit the dogs and get out of there. And I really just want to see how my Strigoi Ghoul King's gonna perform in combat. I haven't really been able to get him in combat before. And I hear he's a hoss, so I want to try this out. That's pretty much what's happening on my turn. There was no charges on my end. I just moved up to get in range so that I could use. He has Scabscrath, the sword that gives him the Terrorgeist shout, and so I wanted to try that. And then I didn't mind giving him the chance to charge me, just holding up and screaming. Though I suppose I think it was a long charge, is why I didn't even try. I just wanted to make sure it was within 8 so I could do that, but didn't charge him. I guess it's just another picture of what the board looks like. During Magic, it was 4-4, and it was it was pretty bad. I miscast. I was trying to do just 1 and 2 things with 4 dice. I really wasn't really sure what I was going to draw out from him. But I couldn't really use the book because if I did, it could take up to 3 dice, and that would have really, I mean, I really couldn't get much out. But I tried two dicing. I forget what it was. It must have been Van Hell's. No, I'm sorry. It was Invocation of Heck. I wanted to heal up. I tried to two dice that and rolled doubles. And with Pandemonium in play, I hadn't dispelled it yet. I miscast, and but it wasn't Irresistible Force. I didn't make the casting value, so he basically got power drained. So he's now a level 1 wizard and lost 3 spells. I think he really only knows like Hellish Vigor or something now. During shooting, I was able to scream with Scabscrath, but he's got pretty decent leadership. I only did 1 wound in there. And it's not like the Terrorgeist because it's based on the number of wounds you have, and that vampire's only got 3. So, I wanted to try the magic weapon this game, but I don't think I'd take it on him again. It does give Devastating Charge and Frenzy. I don't know if those stack, but that's nice. But, as for shooting, it wasn't really worth it. I'd probably put him up on top of a Terrorgeist or something and have them both scream if you want that. During CC, don't think I have a picture of it, but oh yeah, I'm sorry, it was back here. I'll jump back though you can see the last of the Crypt Horrors die, and to be expected, they're just kind of sitting there. They weren't able to overrun, so they're sitting there, and it's not looking good for me. During Allies turn 4, it's supposed to be the end of my turn. Yeah, during Allies turn 4, as you can see here, they just charge right into the zombie bunker with the caster. Nothing I can really do about that. Pretty much everything charges. The steam tank charges into the side of the Crypt Ghouls, the warriors into the front, and the marauders even charge into the dogs here. And they also had their dogs on the side of these dogs. It's definitely not going to work for me here, but I wanted to see how that guy performed. This is just the way the rest of the movement went. The zombies here, they get wiped out completely, as do my dogs. And so the only combat worth noting here is this one. And I actually did pretty well. I think I ended up losing combat because I was flanked, but that guy was just a destroyer. I was chopping through him left and right. If this were a normal game, I felt really good about a bunch of ghouls going against those warriors. I mean, it landed. I landed a bunch of attacks. I didn't actually do the best job with placement, but I was able to wound the steam tank because anything that hits the steam tank is an auto hit, and so I just did the chill grasp on the Cairn Wraith. I probably should have used him in a challenge, but I wanted to wound the steam tank, so I did that. I think next time I fight a steam tank, I'm going to take a frickin' whole unit of those guys so that they can just auto wound that steam tank, and that's a really good counter for that ass piece of ass. I hate the steam tank. Sorry, it just bothers me so much every time I play it. But you can see I pretty much chopped him down to just his characters left. I felt pretty good about that. If this were a normal game and this wasn't, just the end of it to see how it went, I mean, that guy in there would be performing pretty well, and that Necromancer could help heal them up, and he could even help heal them up. I was feeling pretty good about that. Would have been fun to play this part out, but I was just getting crumbled from every side. The game was most definitely over. Again, I think it comes down to deployment. I'm really having a hard time with the new vamps for a bunch of reasons. I think I'm getting better with them and understanding it, but when it comes to deployment, if I don't have the things I need kind of going together, like the Mortis engine protected behind my guys, giving out the regions and the right buffs, it just crumbles. And even this, I had my general pretty close to everyone, but I still had some movement issues. Not everyone could march, and we got into combat pretty quickly right away. But man, I think the new vampires have some big time trouble when it comes to movement, and it's really forcing me to notice all the mistakes I make after the fact when it comes to deployment. I mean, in this one, I kind of thought I was going to huddle in that corner, and I was under the assumption that the Mortis engine could come in on that left flank, so that's what I was banking on. I think that would have been a good plan, but it just didn't work out that way. It really does show, though, I really want to have just a normal pitched battle to see what I can do with planning out my deployment and having at least the guys supporting the people that I want, with a couple of ranks and some guys behind them. Other than that, it was a fun game. It's always fun to play Chaos. I like them. Empire, I haven't really fought them too many times, so I'm learning them. I do hate the stank quite a bit, but it was still fun. It was a good battle, and even though we pretty much crumbled and we're done by turn 4, it was still fun to play.